What's up, you guys? This is Junior Trader, and in this video we are taking a look at Nvidia stock. Guys, this thing prints money both to the upside and to the downside. In this video we'll take a look at if going in this coming week Nvidia gonna go to $1,000, which is $1,000, or $800. Why so I am talking about these two extreme ends? Because if we go to $800, that means we are losing this distribution phase bottom, that is marking this as a complete distribution phase and confirming Nvidia for weeks and months to head lower. All right. And why I am talking $1,000 possibility? Because that is the confirmation of all time new highs coming. Then we are talking sky's the limit again, and this thing is on another run up. So is that possible? What are the possibilities for that happening? What is the price action telling me? What is the broader market telling me? We'll take a look at all of that in this video. I'll also take you over how the options data wrapped up for the last week, provided, Morgan Stanley came out with their bullish push again, right? So that, they can move the market for the reasons that they may have their options to print money. I'll show you some of the data and you would be like, wow, they made their money and now they're happy. But anyways, we'll take a look at price action. As I said, the options data for the last week, how things have closed. I'll explain you a lot about the chart here, and then we'll get you ready on what to look for, what I'm seeing this stock as going into this coming week, what type of plays could be taken on intraday, on swing plays, what are the areas to watch, and all of good stuff, guys. So with that, please also note, none of this is any financial advice. This is only for education purposes. I'm only sharing my opinion, nothing more than that. You are solely responsible for your own financial decisions and outcomes, okay? Throughout this video, I'll be also using a lot of my tools that I have built over the course of many years. I have 2 trading bots, 2 indicators, and Wall Street alerts. If you need access to my tools, links are in the description below. Just please remember, these tools are only for education and reference purposes, okay? And there is guarantee of nothing as terms of the outcomes from these bots, okay, and indicators. That's completely at your own risk and responsibility if you want to use them. So now, starting off with the daily interval is, well, I just want to set some foundation here for what Morgan Stanley did, and then we'll take a look at the options, and then we'll come back to the technicals here, guys. So, and also for the options analysis for this coming week, there will be another video coming out after this video of technical analysis, because then you can correlate the sentiment for how things are looking like for the options next week. But in this video, the options data would be how the week has completed, and then I'll talk about the technicals for this coming week. Okay, so all right, so Morgan Stanley came out over here that Nvidia is back to $1,000. Then we had Raymond James come out to push it again up higher. But we were already talking about this, that hey, this is gonna become bullish as soon as it gets above $862. Things gets more apparent if I take it to the hourly interval, and this is what I was talking, that as soon as this is even this date I talked about, that if Nvidia can recapture 862, it's just an upside game again. It can crawl its way up. It did all of that. We are seeing some sell-off today, right? So we'll talk about that in just a second. When I said today, that means Friday. And so Nvidia stock was saved before it broke this distribution phase bottom box, right? I said this is the last area of battle, the last showdown. If bulls want to rotate it back to the upside, this is where they have to do. And Morgan Stanley said, Junior Trader, don't you worry, I'm gonna rotate it to the upside and you will see. So, and I saw it, Morgan Stanley, I saw it. That's fine. So now the thing is that we today, which is Friday, closed below 20 days moving average, okay? But is this fully bearish or is it still bullish? So let's go to the hourly interval, and let's talk about with the options first for the last week, how things happened. This is where 862 we broke above, and the next day where we went all the way to $906. So if you have seen already my previous video, you know that. So this is the area of $900. This is where the highest calls were. So bright green is the Friday's options data, bright red is the Friday's options data, and the dark red are the day's prior data, for which in this case is Thursday. Okay, green are calls, red are puts. White line is the dividing line where the price closed on Friday. So you can see on Thursday, this is where the highest calls were, right? And all of the calls were not that high. Dark green, you can see, were quite low, even though the red puts were so high. Price was pushed at $906. $906 to at least make all these options money, right? And what it did, it set the sentiment then. I don't know, other traders started buying 910 calls, 920 calls, and 950 calls were also increased for Friday. But poor thing got sold off. All those calls went worthless. I mean, price went against that direction, right? And puts, we have some high puts come up at 850 today, but all other puts were reduced from Thursday, right? Look at the Thursday were so high puts, but Morgan Stanley kept pushing the price up and up. So what they did, not just Morgan Stanley, but market maker, this is why that's why options tells you the sentiment, and this is how options burn people on both sides, right? They move the price in a way that extreme sides don't get fulfilled, okay, right? And they manipulate the market in a way that they make the money the way they want to push through it. Because this data, if I take you back to some older charts, let me see if I still have those charts, guys. I'm not quite sure. So yeah, I'm not quite sure if I have all those older charts, but back then we didn't have all these high calls. Over the weekend, last weekend, when I did my video on Nvidia, you can check that out on my channel, we had very less calls and high puts. But then these calls started to come up, and then Morgan Stanley came out the day after to push it higher, even when Nvidia was selling off, right? So these calls were being printed. So, and then the upgrade happened, right? So all of that, and similar manipulation on Tesla to the downside. So that's been very crazy here. So just know that, this is how the market is. That's why I do shares. I don't trade options. I only trade shares. But this options data really is interesting to see how the market sentiment is shifting, and where are the more money is being put. It's just the where the betting is done, which price points. And it's very interesting. I really enjoy the process of seeing that, okay, where the traders are putting their money, is that price action going to even come through the technicals, or are they going to end up losing the money? So it really helps me in, it's interesting for me. I love analyzing these, the data. So it helps me make better decisions in the stock market with technicals. So now that's the options for the last week. As I said, I'll do the options for the coming week in a separate video. Now let's talk about the technicals for the coming week, and let's see how this next week we can make money. What are the levels to watch? Is Nvidia still in an uptrend, or is this week again enough? So now I already told you, just going to really quickly bring you back to speed here. So daily interval, we are still in this distribution zone phase. We haven't broken below it. We got bought back up in this blue box. We're above 50 days moving average. We have lost 20 days moving average though. Okay, this is what we are seeing on the daily interval. I would say on the daily, it's a little bit indecisive, at least on the daily interval. But let's talk about hourly interval, and let's see if we get some more clarity. Okay, so this is what I was talking about, that if Nvidia can hold $891, this is just a pullback and back to the upside. However, it couldn't do that, and it didn't go without the fight though. Okay, if I take you to the 5 minutes interval, you can see in the morning Nvidia tried its best at $891 to try to find support over here, It tried to regain it again as well, but finally failed at our day trading levels plus the orange line as well. And then it failed the $891 level as well after multiple tests to find support there. Came back lower, rejected underneath of it, and then just kept falling and went to our next level. And you can see that's where it's finding that next support. I'll talk about this level in just a second. But why $891 was so important to hold it? Because on hourly interval, this is where the prior most strong support has been. This thing spent like a week here before finding support here. So if Nvidia could have held support here, this was a good continuation to the upside. You can also see that this was the pivot trend line already forming here, but then it broke it and then rejected the underneath of it here as well with the 200 hours moving average rejection as well. Then the next area I talked about is even if Nvidia, this is what I talked about in my Friday's morning video, that even if Nvidia can hold $877 range, it tried to hold it. You can see that green candle came at that level. That's why level trading is so important. My indicators already mark these automatically for you. Now, we couldn't hold it in the post market. We sold off. We are below 877 as well. Why this was so important? This was the last on intraday, especially, guys, where the price action is right now. This was the last place where Nvidia could have tried to save itself, because this would still have kept it a higher pivot if Nvidia could have turned around from here. But for this turn around, we would eventually have wanting to see the break above 891 again, right? But even if it would have closed high, little bit above here, that would still would have kept it bullish for the next week on intraday. We are not talking swing right now. We are only talking intraday. Now, we lost that level. If Nvidia can't regain 877 on Monday, guys, it's going to continue lower, and then 862, if we lose this as well, yep, we are coming down back again into this box, which is very likely right now, and 834 again becomes their target area. So 863 is very likely the possibility again, or 862. If we lose this area, the structure on swing has also broken again, and then we are looking at this blue box again. But I would suggest, if you really, at this point, I would not say to trade Nvidia swing. It's only intraday's plays, because you need to see a clear direction out of this distribution phase. I'll show you QQ and SPY real quick, very high level, but the tide is shifting. So guys, yes, we are also below 200 hours moving average, below 20 hours moving average, and below 50 hours moving average as well. So we have lost all this stuff, okay? Nvidia, if it wants to become intraday bullish again, as I said, it has to get above first 877, but most importantly, it has to get above 891 on Monday if it want to become bullish on Monday, right? This is for the Monday's price structure. And on the swing side, no, the reason I'm not saying swing short on this, not swing short, intraday short, sure, that's a possibility. Even, okay, sorry guys, here's another thing. Even if it rebounds but rejects below 891, that's still a bearishness and it's still continuing to the downside. It's just that the zone of 877 and 891 is the zone where if Nvidia wants to flip itself around back to the upside, it has to do from this zone. But this zone can still keep it bearish if it rejects at 891. If you want to just have a clear, clean play, Monday 891 and above is the long play, but below 877 is still a bearish play, and then another short play could happen if it rejects 891 in the price action. You see the consolidations and rejections in the wicks and all of that you have to see in the lower time frame. Okay, so why I'm saying it's not a swing play right now, because we on the downside, because we have 50 days moving average still coming from underneath, and we have this distribution phase bottom still sitting over there intact. So that's why I don't want to open any swing plays on Nvidia, only intraday plays. And why not swing long? Well, first of all, there is no intraday long confirmation as well, and not even a swing long confirmation unless those levels break. And then we have a huge supply zone still sitting up there. So right now, no, not a long or swing long. Okay, long only if intraday long only if it confirms those levels as I just talked about. So that's Nvidia going into this week. I want to just really quickly show you why my sentiment is still more to the downside, because look at the SPY continuing to curl lower for more than a month. Today it finally broke the ship. I'll talk about more in detail in another video on QQ and SPY, but same with QQ. Still in the distribution phase, all buying is being negated and being sold off, right? So market is, in my opinion, gonna cool off. There is month of May coming. They say sell in May and go away. Let's see if they sell in May and go away, okay? Because, and if they go away, we have a much more deeper valleys that may come, okay? Cool, guys, that's all for Nvidia. If you found this video helpful and valuable, please hit the like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next videos, guys. Take care, bye.